Good morning and thank you for joining us on Newsline. Today is Sunday, September 14th, 2014. I'm Surapal Lautaranarit. And welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward, broadcasting live on NBT and Radio Thailand FM 88. In today's top story, Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha visited flood-hit areas in Sukhothai and promised to speed up assistance for flood victims nationwide. Now on to today's headlines. Prime Minister Prayut delivered a policy statement before the National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, following the appointment and the swearing-in ceremony of the new cabinet. Rendering his speech at the Parliament House before the legislative body, which was handpicked by the National Council for Peace and Order, General Prayut pledged that the newly appointed government would push for reforms in all areas in hopes of bringing about peace, unity, and sustainable development to the nation. He also touched on the problem of corruption, saying such issue was urgent and that the government would be willing to do whatever it took to prevent and tackle all corruption practices. He went on to say that the government would adopt His Majesty the King's approach, working through understanding, accessibility, and development, as well as His Majesty's philosophy of sufficiency economy. He also vowed that the government would bring economic stability and a strong foundation to Thailand in an attempt to allow the country and the people to move forward in a sustainable manner. Other policies given by the Prime Minister range from the protection of the royal institution to national security, the elimination of social gaps, and the promotion of education, religion, and culture, as well as the upgrading of laws and the justice system. According to him, the government is determined to complete its efforts in the planned areas in a timely manner so as to achieve concrete and effective results. He also asked all ministries and state offices to draw up their own execution plans that must be implemented and completed within a year's time. The policy statement followed the appointment of General Prayut as the 29th Prime Minister of Thailand on August 24th and the royal endorsement of the cabinet on August 31st. Prime Minister Prayut is adamant that all cabinet ministers will quickly carry out their tasks in full force now that the government policy has been announced to Parliament. Following the delivery of policy statement before the National Legislative Assembly, General Prayut stated that all ministers could now fully take charge of their assigned responsibilities. In his position as the Premier, he said he was relieved and elated to know that there was a cabinet to help the Thai people in restoring happiness, driving the nation forward, and rebuilding foreigners' confidence. The next crucial step, General Prayut pointed out, would be the government's continuation of the National Council for Peace and Order's undertakings in the second phase of reform, with the ultimate goal of ensuring the kingdom's security and sustainability. He admitted the difficulty of the task, but insisted he would give it his best attempt. In addition, the Prime Minister touched on the anti-corruption policy, saying the government had laid down short, medium, and long-term measures to prevent and eradicate corruption, while integrated efforts by all sectors would be necessary. He also noted that corruption cases must be handled with care, with equality and fairness provided for all those involved. The government has pledged to put focus on the recovery of Thailand's economy after continued improvement in investor and consumer sentiment. Prime Minister Prayut said during the weekly Returning Happiness to the People program that the government has always been focusing on the economy, as proven by several meetings with economic agencies to discuss its current conditions and the outlook, which found that investor and consumer confidence has been improving. However, General Prayut noted that the recovery of Thailand's economy is still subject to various internal and external factors. He said that the government's push for the development of the economy to enable the country to compete effectively has included more investment in advanced technology-intensive industries, the promotion of production of goods that meet market demand, and the amendments of related laws to facilitate trade and investment. The Prime Minister said that he has assigned the Finance Ministry, the Bureau of the Budget, the Interior Ministry, and the Comptroller General's Department to come up with measures to help people in the province, while utilizing unspent budget to help boost local economy. The Prime Minister has assured that the selection process of members of the National Reform Council, or NRC, will be fair in order for it to be widely accepted. Prime Minister Prayut said that out of 7,362 applications filed for seats in the NRC, the largest number of 133 were from Bangkok. Among all 11 areas of the planned reforms, the highest interest has gone to the educational affairs, for which 777 candidates have signed up to contest, while the smallest number of candidates of 194 was seen in the area of mass media, said the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister added that the selection committee is verifying the qualification of each candidate, while affirming that he will make sure the entire process will be most impartial, in order to allow only the most capable and knowledgeable people to carry out the reforms amidst public acceptance. Prime Minister Prayut visited flood-hit areas in Sukhothai and promised to speed up assistance for flood victims nationwide. The Premier led cabinet members, including Deputy Defense Minister General Udomdet Sitabut, to Kongkraila district in Sukhothai to monitor the flood situation. The visit came after he delivered his speech on government policies before members of the National Legislative Assembly. The general said flooding has eased in most parts of the province, except for 8 districts. General Prayut, along with flood experts and related officials, will be studying water management issues in the Yom River Basin that resulted in severe floods and drought each year. Though the flood water in Sukhothai is receding, the runoff from the north, which triggered powerful overflow from sections of the Yom River in the province, is heading southward, prompting provinces downstream of the Chao Phraya River to go on alert. The Premier noted that currently 32 provinces across Thailand are experiencing floods, and the government is prepared to tackle the problem as quickly as they can. During his visit, he also met up with farmers in the area hit by the deluge and vowed to expedite the flood prevention efforts. General Prayut said his trip had the objective to give more support to the flood-affected people and ensured urgent assistance for farmers, especially in terms of the cost of production and irrigation. Sukhothai is affected by floods every year since it has no dam to slow down water from the Yom River. The province needs a budget of over 30 million baht to construct water control structures and improve the drainage capacity of its economic districts. The Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, or DDPM, reported that 4 provinces in the north are worst hit by the ongoing flood crisis. The department said that since August 26th, 29 provinces have experienced flooding due to runoffs from the north. Nearly 20,000 households have been affected and 12 people have been killed. Currently, Sukhothai, Phichit, Phitsanulok, and Nakhon Sawan continue to be hit by inundation. Many parts of the 4 provinces, including agricultural land, remain submerged, awaiting further assistance from local authorities. Army personnel and related officials have been dispatched to survey damages and help flood victims. The department added that residents living in flood-affected areas need to prepare necessity items in case more floods strike. He recommended locals to stock up on dry and canned food, drinking water, first aid kit, and medicine. Important documents should also be stored in waterproof bags. Newly appointed Energy Minister Narongchai Akaraserani has given a policy statement on the ministry's upcoming energy reforms during next year. Speaking during his first day in office, Mr. Narongchai said that price structure of different fuels will be reformed first to reflect actual production costs. The move will lead to a more effective use of the nation's energy resources. The reforms will be in line with the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO's policy on energy. Activists had asked the NCPO through the energy reform process to clear hindrances that distort the fuel price structure, claiming these benefited businesses while households had to bear higher costs. He commented on the Excise Department's long-time burden in subsidizing diesel prices, saying it is expected that the diesel price will currently be kept below 30 baht a liter in Bangkok and surrounding provinces, but the policy cannot realistically be extended for a long period of time. The ministry will also seek new petroleum development projects near Cambodia and will attempt to restart the 21st round of bidding for petroleum concessions in the country. The National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, is scheduled to hold the second and third readings of the 2015 budget bill on September 16th and to consider 10 more draft laws on September 18th. An announcement has been issued by NLA President Pornphet Vichitcholachai calling the next meeting with all NLA members on Tuesday at 1 p.m. During the session, the NLA will deliberate all 35 sections of the 2015 budget bill in the last 2 readings, after the bill has been studied and adjusted by the Appropriation Committee. After the first reading in August, the budget stipulated by the bill was reduced by the Appropriation Panel by a total of 16.82 billion baht from the original amount of 2.57 trillion baht. At the same time, Mr. Pornphet scheduled another session on Thursday at 10 a.m. in order for NLA members to discuss details of 10 other important bills proposed earlier by the Chief of the National Council for Peace and Order. The 10 include the Carriage of Goods by Air Bill, the International Carriage of Passengers by Road Bill, the Skill Development Promotion Bill, the Motor Vehicle Bill, and the Bill on Establishment of Administrative Court and Administrative Court Procedure. The second Ebola suspect in Thailand has been tested negative for the virus. The patient's blood sample will be tested again for the second time on September 15th. Expert from the Ministry of Public Health, Dr. Narumon Sawan Panyalerth, said that the 52-year-old Danish man suspected of having Ebola after traveling from Nigeria now had less fever and common flu-like symptoms. The patient had been admitted to Ratchavithi Hospital since September 12th. His first blood test results showed that he had not contracted the virus. If the results of the second blood tests were also negative, the patient would be allowed to go home, said the physician. Deputy Director General of the Disease Control Department, Dr. Opat Kankawinpong, has affirmed there has been no Ebola patient in Thailand so far, and no suspicious symptoms have been found among 1,100 people who traveled from the affected countries. Approval has been granted by the Royal Thai Police Board for the appointment of a number of police officials to their new positions. After the police board meeting, which was chaired by Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense General Prawit Wongsuwon, Acting National Police Chief Police General Wacharapon Prasan Rachakit revealed that the board had made a unanimous decision to give the green light to the police reshuffle list. He affirmed all the promotions and transfers were made based on seniority, capability, and experience without political or military intervention. According to the new lineup, 3 officers are to become the new Deputy National Police Chiefs, comprising Advisor to the National Police, Police General Wood Lipta Palop, Assistant National Police Chief, Police Lieutenant General Reung Sak Jarit Ek, and Assistant National Police Chief, Police Lieutenant General Jaktip Chai Jinda. Meanwhile, Deputy Commissioner of the Central Investigation Bureau, Police Major General Siwara Rangsi Pramanakun, is slated to take up the role of Metropolitan Police Chief. The names of the appointees are currently awaiting submission to His Majesty the King for royal endorsement. The Government Public Relations Department, or PRD, held its 15th weekly Music in the Garden event this past Thursday, with continued hope of fostering unity and harmony in the kingdom. Kun Sandra Hanusaha has this story.
During the 15th weekly Music in the Garden event, the concert was held under the theme of Farang's Love Luk Thung music, showcased by a number of famous contemporary performers. Renowned Luk Thung artists Christy Gibson and Jonas Anderson were invited to perform at the event amid loud applause from the audience.
About being part of this endeavor?
Oh, it's awesome to be a part of this, and I'm very proud to be a part, even though I'm not Thai, but as I was saying earlier, it's the wish of every artist, every singer, to bring happiness through their music. So I think it fits together perfectly. If you want to bring happiness back to the people, music is a great way to do it, and I'm very proud to be part of that as an artist and even as a non-Thai, to be able to join with the Thais in building an atmosphere of happiness and joy in the country.
Mr. Anderson said he is honored to be part of the campaign that brings happiness to Thai people through music. Both Mr. Anderson and Ms. Gibson performed a number of their own musical numbers, classical Luk Thung songs, and compositions by His Majesty the King.
I feel really honored, of course, especially as non-Thai, as a foreigner, having grown up here in Thailand. I feel like it's really special to be one of the artists that's invited to perform in such an important function as this, and especially as it's the whole purpose of it is to give happiness back to people. I really hope that that's what we accomplish today. Yeah, it's a really big honor, and I'm really happy to be here.
The Music in the Garden concerts are held at the PRD Auditorium in Soi Ari from 4:30 p.m. until 8 p.m. on Thursdays under various themes on a weekly basis. The weekly event, which demonstrates the PRD's effort in supporting the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO's commitment to rebuilding happiness, has received great reception from the public. The free concerts attracted a massive number of people, and the PRD has been urged to keep the project running for longer terms. Various types of music are played by the PRD's live bands, including Thai contemporary music, traditional Thai songs, royal melodies composed by His Majesty the King, modern Thai songs, and a selection of international songs.
ซึ่งเรียนนะครับว่าเราภาคภูมิใจอย่างยิ่งที่กรมประชาสัมพันธ์ได้มีส่วนสร้างความสุขให้กับพี่น้องประชาชนคนไทยนะครับเราจัดต่อเนื่องกันมาเป็นครั้งที่15แล้วนะครับก็อยากจะเรียนว่าเป็นความมุ่งมั่นความตั้งใจอย่างยิ่งโดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งอยากจะขอบคุณไปยังคสช.ที่มีความมุ่งมั่นที่จะคืนความสุขให้กับประชาชนและก็สร้างความปรองดองสามัคคีนะครับกรมประชาสัมพันธ์เราตอบโจทย์ของคสช.นะครับของท่านนายกรัฐมนตรีนะครับเราจัดต่อเนื่องกันอย่างไม่เคยหยุดมาเลย
PRD Director General Mr. Apinan Jantarangsi also visited the event and expressed his immense support for the weekly concert, saying the event was part of the NCPO's policy to dissolve political factions and to promote unity among the citizens through music, essentially paving the way for a sustainable peace and reconciliation. For those who were unable to attend, NBT occasionally plays a rerun of the concert on its main television channel. The concert, which kicked off in June, is not scheduled to be finished anytime soon.
In today's segment of Now or Never, Dr. Yongyut Mayalab, the spokesperson of the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO, will talk about the NCPO's anti-corruption plan. Let's have a look.
Welcome to Now or Never, a program that updates you on the policies and developments of the National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO. Corruption has been deep-rooted in Thai society. The NCPO therefore considers that this problem must be seriously addressed. In order to see concrete and rapid progress within 1 year, the NCPO seeks the cooperation of all sectors, including the state and private sectors, civil society, and the population at large. For this purpose, the NCPO views that anti-corruption values should be instilled in society and that severe penalties must be handed down to those guilty of corruption. A transparent procurement system, the process of transferring and appointing civil servants, the exercise of power by state agencies, and good governance in state-owned enterprises should be looked at in conjunction with legislative reforms that will update our laws to conform to international norms. General Prayut Chan-o-cha, head of the NCPO, said that he had also heard concerns from certain sectors that the NCPO had not included the prevention and tackling of corruption in the 11-point national reform agenda. He had reiterated that the NCPO gives extreme importance to this matter and sees it as one of the fundamental issues that need to be tackled by reforms. The prevention of corruption is a massive cross-cutting issue that affects all other issues. Therefore, if it is not considered as one of the main agendas for reform, corruption will not be addressed at every level. For this purpose, the NCPO has decided to set corruption prevention as an important condition for every reform agenda, including political reform, administrative reform, legal reform, as well as reforms in the legal process, local administration, education, economy, and other sectors. All sectors must be rid of corruption, as stated in Section 27 of the Provisional Constitution of the Kingdom of Thailand, BE 2557, 2014, which stipulates that the National Reform Council has the duty to study and give recommendations for reform in various sectors so that the democratic form of government with the king as head of state will be developed as appropriate for the Thai social context. This includes having an election system that is honest and fair, accompanied by effective mechanisms to prevent and eliminate corruption and dishonest behavior. สวัสดีครับ
Open the world of information. Embrace public participation. Present Thainess to the world. dimension of the government's public relations. The 81st anniversary of Public Relations Department. Creative media for society and mobilizing Thailand towards the ASEAN community.
Welcome back to Newsline. At least 16 people were killed in a bus crash and 17 injured in the Tehri district of India's northern state of Uttarakhand on Saturday. The bus was traveling from Srinagar city in Uttarakhand with 33 passengers on board when it careered down 300 feet and into a gorge after trying to overtake another vehicle near the Juyalgarh area on the National Highway 58. Superintendent of Police in the Tehri district, Mukhtar Mohsin, said on top of the 16 fatalities, 15 passengers had to be taken to hospital and only 2 walked off with minor injuries. More than 230,000 people were killed on Indian roads in 2010. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Newsline. If you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Simply type in NNT or check out our website thainews.prd.go.th/newsinc. And for now, we're going to say goodbye with a cute panda cub in China holding on to a keeper's leg. I'm Surapal Lautaranarit. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day. สวัสดีครับ